Alright, so now we're gonna find out who killed Chihiro. That is someone in here. Everybody? Fucking memorizing.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay then.
We don't know who
So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
Who did Chihiro went to gym with? It's not one of the girls, because she's shy around girls. She doesn't want to be around girls. It's probably one of the boys. That's what I'm assuming. Then we'll figure it out.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been? I bet it was an iron pipe. Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, what
It's
kind
not
of...
the iron
I bet it was
pipe.
an iron
This!
pipe.
It's a dumbbell.
No, that's wrong.
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yes! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Sure, what's this? White noise. Huh. Alright. There's a way to keep this white noise from getting away. Press the right mouse button to touch a silencer, which you can use to shoot down the white noise. However, if you shoot your mark, it's like obstacles. So there'll be like obstacles. Oh, let's see.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking
Come
of
on.
Genocide Jack, I don't know who that is!
The culprit is Genocide Jack.
Case closed.
Why? What makes it...
Well, I mean, there's just no proof for it.
No, it's wrong! I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library. I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kinda weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth, so let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
Did she just say
More
boob lust?
important is the other characteristic, and it's something that is
Never made public?
Why don't you tell them, Toko?
I got it! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
You lie!
What? Hey, okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has, like, bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle. Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
Oh yeah, wait, I feel like Byakuya is trying to frame Toko in a way. Right? Chizo? Where's the O? Where's the O? There it is.
Now I
Schizo.
understand.
Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file, too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
I got it! You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from—
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How? Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
I feel like he's not lying though, but he is trying to frame Toko.
What?
Like, I feel like it's true.
Promise.
Yeah, I believe it's true, but Byakuya's trying to frame
You have
Toko.
only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise,
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
how many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it, but...
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person you don't mean...
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see? What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this? Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko, that's a loser name, and what happened is a textbook split personality. So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's fault.
So intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
Miss Jack, Jill,
What's up?
some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all masterminds. Just kidding.
Then it's not.
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid! And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless! I mean, they just let this idiotic bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster!
Wait, okay, I get it. So she didn't do it. Yakua's trying to frame her, right? I'm still saying that throughout the end.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely. What more proof do we need? Give it up. You killed her.
But I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect it?
Perhaps if you had an...
Oh, an alibi!
When you compare your past murders to the modus operandi matches completely.
No, that's wrong! Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I think there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Huh? How's it?
Well then, human garbage! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about what happened to Chihiro. It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one. I got it! For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce!
Could you please stop comparing killing people to cooking?
Wow.
Are you saying the other difference has to be...
Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I use my own specially designed scissors. Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's 2 differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more difference.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there. Just figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly...
I got it!
Is the theory that Chihiro is not a girl?
Was a girl?
I guess we'll talk about it later.
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases,
they were all...
That's right! The people I kill with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men! I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl, and the movie side of me just hates it. But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of a one and...
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. It's a different matter entirely. When you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, lolicon!
Lowly?
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Maybe you use the dumbbell because you could...
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world scissors!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any in the school.
Are you sure about that?
She's fully equipped!
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime! Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong, you can't can, you gutter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot. The rope's totally out of the question anyway!
I have no idea what's going on anymore! But the body really was suspended, right?
Yeah! That's why we figured it had to be the real deal.
Byakuya. Freaking Byakuya! It's you! It's you, Byakuya!
Here's my answer.
You did it, Byakuya!
Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Right, you said...
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of genocide because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on the adorable glasses man was behind it all!
Well, Byakuya?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious?
Looking at the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange. You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room. The victim was Chihiro, a girl.
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, go ahead. Share with the rest of the class.
Sure. Truth flashback. If you aim at a weak spot and hold the left mouse button, then you'll oh shit! That's the memorization thing, isn't it? Okay, okay. If you don't seem to have the answer or light or connection. Okay, so sometimes I have to remember what someone said when using someone else. Alright, that's good to know. That's good to know. Probably gonna have to do it on this one though.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird...
Ow.
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you freaking Ifumi!
That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So, of course, I would suggest we check the girls. There was no time for pointless distraction. What's so strange about that?
You wish you'd taken me with you?
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting...
If you're presented with the opportunity...
I think that maybe we didn't know who it was. And Byakuya seemed to know. Like, he seemed to know who it was before we even
I'll
found
tell
it.
you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak. What's wrong? Is that it? What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you?
There is. I think.
There is more to it. We just talked about the differences between this. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof?
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
You did! Library of Deathland.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
And Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord.
That's really what you think? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room. I intentionally made it look like Jennifer. Is that about right? What's wrong? I asked you if you think that's what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's the killer.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
He kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be total...
Sorry, but I think we need to talk about this a little more. I know, but there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, great, I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my specifically, what about all that bothers you?
I got it!
There we go.
You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker, but are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? She was found dead in the girls' locker. How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
The rest of the murder scene? That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all of that.
I believe I do.
Hey! Don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else...
Shoot!
Where's the poster? Probably gonna be the posters, right? Let's go with the posters. There we go. Locker room posters. Been switched.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room. Your proof? The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. Why would the girls' locker room...
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boy... a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boy's locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
There you go!
The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think? What? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device, but Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls'. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly...
Shut up! I'm telling you!
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker rooms?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer after all. I'm sure there would have been no...
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What then?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, that's wrong! No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah,
I am struck silent by how quick.
Plus, isn't there a regulation?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring!
This is why
So,
I had
she
the theory
didn't
that
use
Chihiro
Leon's
is actually a
handbook,
guy.
And she didn't modify
Because it wouldn't make
her own
sense
handbook.
otherwise.
Maybe, Mr. Knight. It seems like there's no way she could.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right?
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What? What are you talking about?
Well, why don't we take a little break from the trial?
Wait!
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting.
Huh? Well, alright then! Now then,
Oh, I have no...
She probably wants us to see something.
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top.
What is
I'd like you to
Kyoko?
examine the victim's
Oh!
one more time.
Exactly what I was saying! Chihiro is a guy!
Be sure to examine the entire body.
Oh my
very
god,
carefully.
Nun!
examine her.
Oh my god!
Wait, no.
Exactly what I was thinking!
best if I
Chihiro
don't
was
run my
actually
hands
a
all
guy
over
the whole
girl's dead
fucking
body.
time.
It's not that I'm creeped out or
fucking-
anything, it's just...
Ah!
Very well.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't touch a dead body.
Oh my god!
Just let one of the boys
And I
do it.
just fucking realized,
It's
oh my
okay.
god, I was
I think
actually
Chihiro
right.
would rather have a... So just...
What is this? Some kind of secret?
That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chihiro.
Be sure to check her entire body. And
Her entire body. What?
What is it?
Not possible. This girl is
Is what?
a boy!
Holy shit!
I see. So she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
My reaction, Hifumi.
Joking, right?
I wouldn't...
It's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, the world's really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial.
Now it explains how Chihiro got into the wrong room.
Apologize for keeping you waiting. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy. And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room. and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but...
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries...
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever.
Very interesting.
He's off in his own little...
What about you, Makoto?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But... I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy, if you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as...
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe...
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then... why?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure.
You're seriously gonna keep going?
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then.
Damn straight.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do.
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time.
That's very true.
Our lives are...
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
It has to be a guy.
I got it!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Probably Celeste.
Clues are one thing.
Probably Celeste.
Did nobody get a look at the killer? I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something, but...
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
Shoot!
I need to find a freaking contradiction.
Isn't there a single clue that, well...
Did nobody get a... I'm sure if someone saw the killer...
Perhaps someone saw the victim.
Yeah.
It's over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the killer.
Nope, Celeste saw it.
No, it's wrong! I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes. I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows it. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't...
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd. Chihiro told me he was in a hurry, but why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of...
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much, enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed. Oh, what a marvelous French! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know,
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Who is it?
Seriously?
Who is it then? Kyoko, who is it?
Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence?
Why? You want to track down some...
Even if we had the equipment for that.
As was noted, the evidence is already...
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it easy for you to...
But fine. Celeste, did you... The bag was just a normal... All the bags in there are the same, so...
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between...
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took. First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
Oh!
So, what you're saying
Okay.
is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? My tracksuit is black.
Wait! How did you know the tracksuit was blue? Mondo, how did you know that the tracksuit was blue?
First of all, we know where
Wait a
Chihiro was
second.
on his way to go. So next thing, why did he choose this?
What do you mean?
Wait,
Got it! It
how
matched the one...
did you know?
The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit. My tracksuit is black.
How did you know that the tracksuit was blue? Mondo, how the heck?
He was on his way, so next thing...
Now
why
I'm
did he
suspicious
choose-
of Mondo just because of that sentence.
It matched the one...
So,
The killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit.
How did you know? How did you know?
It's wrong.
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago. She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you? You just...
Hey, Celeste. What color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue?
And before we began the trial,
Did you? The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because I just... I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, the bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only possibility!
Cherry?
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
no, that can't be it either. When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit.
That's a good strategy.
You said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
But why? What made you so...
That's a good question.
The way he talked.
There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happen to refer to him as dude.
Oh! Mondo knew! That's true! He did refer to Chihiro as a dude.
Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You notice such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Oh my god, he
Mondo,
murdered a friend.
Was it really you?
Wait,
Did
Mondo.
you really kill...
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn...
Yeah! He would never do something like that!
It's true. My reasoning on that is...
That was fast.
Well, this...
That's what my little ghost...
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you...
Really?
Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking about it here,
Jeez, is your confidence...
What do you have?
It happens to be an e-handbook. Shoot!
God dang it. I just fucking wasted a fucking game over. Oh, dang it, man. Keep playing, yeah. Yes.
I refuse to give up yet!
No giving up. Let's do it. Start the whole conversation again, come on. Let's just go, come on. I just want to answer that one small question. The way he talked. Keep going. Keep going. It's Chihiro, I guess.
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from this...
For a fact.
For a fact, I was totally sure.
Then it must hold some clue.
Well, that's what I was hoping.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks...
You're right. They're totally waterproof.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Lee for all your confidence.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How, precisely, did the handbooks get broken?
You already told us before that the handbook...
Yeah! Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke...
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? I think it's a necessary piece of information if you...
But if I tell you, and someone else decides...
Just tell us already!
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demand. Then allow me to make a special announcement. When it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt. It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and stiff.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out?
Indeed.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa! Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the...
It's easy. You already know that answer.
Here's my answer! Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, I don't accept this! Show me the proof! The actual solid proof!
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
No, that's wrong. Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to...
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's. But doesn't that violate the school regulation?
Well, there is a rule about loaning your handbook. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a...
Son, what's wrong, bro? You are wrong! Everything you just...
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time? That way, everything will become clear. And we'll all see if I was right or wrong. killer is you! First, let's... Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can... With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out. She made her way to the locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room? Simple. Because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own handbook to gain it. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the... It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned. Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, then removing the bloody poster, and finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker. A girl's handbook was necessary, but this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessary. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbook, using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it, with the carpet and the poster they brought with them. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call... That could have been the end of things. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after he used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter. And around the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings there, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence. Chihiro's handbook. And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to somehow. The killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Arata?
Wait! No, this can't be right. Where's your evidence? Yeah, where's you need evidence? Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! You're corrupt! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it! Thinking so far, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon's. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now. Once we do that...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah, I did it. I killed him. I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get an ask for the god...
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No time for the moment weep. Who will you elect? As will you make the right choice? What's it gonna be? What's... What? Ta-da! Unbelievable.
Sorry.
What is this?
Now then. Actually... Ha! Wait. What?
I'm sorry. But... That's right. I want to change.
Hey,
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Correct. Indeed. Certainly.
But...
Because... I knew it.
What is this? You're wrong!
Don't make me repeat myself.
Hey!
I just... Don't fuck with me! I just...
I'm sorry. Huh? But I want to change.
You piece of... What? What?
Huh?
What?
No! What's wrong?
Damn you!
I just wanted to...
Yeah, that's right. You son of a bitch! I killed Chihiro, even after all this time. I'm still just as weak as I've always been. And thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
Yep.
It can't be.
Well now, well now, well now, well now.
Ridiculous.
Now then, I prepared a Let's
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made.
This.
Naturally.
Hey. However,
What?
Honestly. There is nothing to be done. Well...
That's right.
I see.
But...
Interesting.
Correct. Indeed. Hey,
What's this?
you... What?
Damn. What the heck?
Damn it! Ooh, how it...
That's enough. In the name of my family.
You're getting all riled up.
Well, anyway, like I was saying, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah, a really good spot. Anyway, isn't it amazing how that girl went and killed someone before things even had a chance to get boring? Once things really get moving, it'll be like a roller coaster. There won't be any stopping it. Fear and despair charge forward at a speed nothing can hope to match. But I must admit, I'm disappointed. I went to all the pain and effort of making you part of the group, and you couldn't play your part. You do remember you were supposed to make the first move, right? Well, nothing we can do about it now. So just do your best to make things more exciting from now on, okay? After all, that's what everyone wants to see. As long as you don't want to know my measurements, fire away! Ooh, my, you really took me by surprise there. I know I said you could ask anything, but super denied. Oh, and nobody'd be dumb enough to reveal that, right? No matter how close they were to their friend.